Hello there. So in today's tutorial, we're gonna be talking a little bit about poly model and tri model, and to see what do we have here. So if you haven't watched the previous tutorial about all the other options that you have there, you can just go ahead and click on the link here. So let's get started. First of all, this is a mesh that I had previously built inside the engine, and I've recorded the tutorial about it, and you can watch it too. So let's start with the poly edit right now. Sorry, you have to select the mesh and poly edit. So you can choose the poly and then do a lot of other things with it, such as extrude. You can extrude it out. If you or push pull, you can do actually a lot of things. Push pull, or so these are the options that you can see here. I want to keep the tutorial very short, so I'm not gonna go through a lot of them. But anyway, try select. Okay, so I want to, for example, delete this one. This is pretty important. I just come here, triangle select, and I just select something, hit delete on my keyboard, and then what I can do is there's some option here as hole fill. So I can click on that, and I can select my hole here and hit accept, and now I have something new. If you're not happy with the UV, you can just come here. There's an option for auto UV. It just tries to make it look a little bit better, but in my case it got worse. But anyway, you always have the option to go into the UV editor or layout, and you can change a lot of stuff for yourself. This tutorial is not about this one, so anyway. This is the hole. You can just fill all the holes you have in your mesh, or the holes that you want to fill. Other than that, you can select the edges in your mesh and just try to move them accordingly, which can give you some variety in your mesh if you want to have something like a rock or some random mesh. And you have a lot of other options: linear, smooth, and okay, we can use a translate to rotation of the edges. Okay, the next one would be, I'm gonna go click cancel. Next one would be the mesh boolean. So you are pretty much familiar with this one if you have worked in Blender or 3D Studio Max before, if you have modeled things before. But if not, let's go ahead and explain it out. So we can have these two meshes selected and click on mesh bool. You have some options, differences between A and B. This is the A, this is the first mesh I selected, and this is B. Difference between A and B, which is pretty much nothing. We can do it like this, or difference between B and A. We can have a hole in our cube using the rock mesh that we have created, or we can use the intersection between them, or we can have them together as a union. So it will just merge two actors together, and we'll get rid of what is not necessary in the mesh. So it's such a nice tool. And if you just don't want to go through all the trouble of clicking on this and just finding the difference between these two, you can always click on mesh cut and find the difference between if you want to cut the mesh, you can easily cut the mesh like this. Okay, so subdivide is, so if you go to wireframe, this is the amount of polygons I have right now. With subdivide though, I can have it even more, something like 5. So the mesh will be smoother, much smoother. So this is the mesh right now I'm having, and this is the mesh I'll be having after using the subdivide tool. It's gonna take a while though. Unfortunately, that's not a problem in Unreal Engine 5 since you can always use nanite in highly detailed mesh. Oof, look at that. That's a lot of polygons. So you can just go ahead in the double click on the mesh and go to the mesh details. And in nanite settings, you can set enable nanite support to true, and then maybe you can use something like 10. Okay, so the next tool we're going to be talking about is going to be the triangle edit. We've already used it a little bit. We can't use it on this one since it's really high detail. We're going to go use it on here. We can just change the face positions or edges or even the polygon themselves, or we can even push pull, or we can even flip the normal so you can have them facing inside, or you can just delete them and maybe use a hole to fill them next. It's gonna be cool. Okay, try select similar. As I told you, you can just, instead of, you can't use the transform gizmo around here. That's the difference, but you can use everything else that you have here. Mirror, so when you want to mirror something, you can use this tool. Maybe something like here. It's just duplicate things out. If you want to cut a mesh really fast, you can use this plane in pin cuts. Polycut's the same. Just cuts the mesh based on this shape. If you want to cut a mesh like this, that's a tool for it. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that like button. Cheers.